I've been a retirement advisor now for over 20 years, and what I'm about to share in today's video is something that's been on my heart for a long time, and I want to share it with you. And that is, I think too many people, at least in America, view retirement as a number. You know, how much money to get in the bank, or an age. I'm 65 years old, I'm 67, whatever the age is. And they view it as a finish line. Like their life is basically over and now it's time to kind of coast and relax. And I don't view retirement at all as a finish line. In fact, I view it as a starting line. And bang, the starting gun has sounded. And it's the beginning of an adventure. It's the beginning of something that you've worked really hard for. And I want you to have a sense of excitement and a sense of just you can't wait. Remember as a little kid, maybe you're going to the amusement park in the summer with your family in the morning and you're so excited you can't sleep. Or same little kid analogy, but it's going to be Christmas morning and you're so excited for Christmas Day that you can't sleep. That's how I think we should all feel about retirement. It's this adventure, and we're about to start on this adventure. Frankly, I think the word retirement sucks. I think it's like the worst word possible to conjure up what it really is. And it's the beginning of another chapter of your life. And it's going to be the last chapter where you're healthy, active, and can do these adventures. So for goodness sakes, make the most of it. Okay, let's go for a walk, and I want to share some more about this. So as I said, I've been a financial advisor for a long time. I've helped many people and enter retirement, and probably 20% of people are super excited about it. And the other 80%, maybe initially they don't tell me that they're apprehensive, but I can sense that, right? I mean, I've been working with people for a long time, and I'll give you, for instance, they have trepidation. When I ask somebody, what does retirement look like for you? What are you hoping to do? And when I hear the answer that I'm hoping to travel and I'm hoping to spend time with my kids and my grandkids, or gardening is another one, those three, there's absolutely nothing wrong with those. I'm hoping to do all of that. I'm hoping I get a chance to have grandchildren. I'm hoping to do all of that. If I'm in charge of the garden, we're going to be buying new plants every year because I'm not much of a gardener. But I'm hoping to do all of that as well. But they kind of tend to be the rote answer. The answer when people haven't really thought much about what they do in retirement. And that's natural. You've been working hard, you're busy, you're balancing a bunch of things. And so you haven't had chance to think about retirement. And that's the whole point. Is you're finally going to have time to think about how do you want to spend your days? How do you want to spend your time? And I really want people to be excited about it. You're watching this video. I want to make the case for you to be excited about this next chapter. You have freedom in front of you. You can spend your time the way you want to spend your time. And yes, many of us have been doing our jobs for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, maybe 40 years, and we're really good at it, right? I consider myself to be really good at what I do. However, there's life outside of work as well, and unfortunately, studies of U.S. employees show that only 36% of employees say that they're even satisfied. That's a pretty low bar, I would, that's not an A+ in my book for the companies, that their employees are saying, yeah, I'm satisfied. I want people to love their job. I want people to be passionate about their job. I want to provide a workplace and an environment where they get to be their best self at work. And I think that's what we all want, but unfortunately it's not the American experience. I had a boss once that told me there's a reason work is a 4-letter word, right? And it's because you have to do things that you don't want to do, and I get that. But, I mentioned earlier, 36% of people say they're satisfied, which is like the bare minimum bar to get over. And only 20% of people say that they love their job. So, you get, if you're in that 20%, then, maybe you do consider continuing to work. Maybe, I think that people should retire when they can. I think people wait too long, candidly. If you're 60 years old, unfortunately, you have less than 1,000 weeks, likely, nobody knows, but less than 1,000 weeks of healthy, active time in front of you. And that's not a lot of time. And, if you wait till you're 60, what happens if you get a cancer diagnosis or a stroke in your mid-60s? 65, 67, how are you going to feel if you worked all these years, if you sacrificed all these years and you didn't get to enjoy it? At 67, you have a stroke, and all of a sudden you can't travel, and the doctor's like, you really should be close to this medical center in case something happens. And there's a lot of things you can no longer do. And if God forbid that were to happen to you, I want you to be able to look back, and if you could have retired when you're in your mid-50s, let's say 55, I want you to look back and say, at least I thought about it. At least I made a deliberate decision. And that's really what this channel is about, is I want to help as many people as possible be thoughtful and deliberate about when you retire. If you're the 15 or 20% that has the financial resources to be able to retire at 55, or you're willing to do a trade-off to make it happen, and we'll talk about that in a second. I want you to be thoughtful and deliberate and say, do I want to do this? Why am I still working? What's important to me? What else could I be doing? I'm fortunate. I have not always been a well-traveled person, but as I record this, it's hard for me to believe, but I have traveled to 50 different countries. And that's been a life-changing experience for me to see how different people live their lives. Sorry about the noise. We've got a ferry coming in here, and it's kicked up some waves here where I'm at. But if I had not had that chance to travel, and that really didn't start till I was 50 years old, 50, so it's really been in the last 10 years that I've been able to do this. But if I had had a stroke and I couldn't travel, I would have felt really bad. I would have said, I messed up that opportunity. And in my case, there were chances when I was younger that I could have traveled that I did not, just because of the hassle and the costs associated. When I had younger kids, we could have gone to Europe, we could have gone to Southeast Asia, we could have gone to South America. There's the hassle of getting your kids, on the trip and things like that. So that didn't happen. And fortunately, I was given a second chance. And in my 50s, I was able to travel. And now, if something were to happen, I'd feel okay. And I want that to be your situation. Is there anything on your list that you're like, man, I'd really like to be able to do that? Maybe you played sports in high school, and you always thought it would be fun to coach the high school football team, but you know what? You can't get off of work at 3 p.m. to go to the weekday practices. Well, you know what? If you were retired or semi-retired, maybe you could do that. Maybe you're really involved in a not-for-profit that you have a passion for, and you really think they do great work, and you'd like to get more involved. You'd like to spend more time, but you just don't have time to do it. Well, you know what? If you were retired or semi-retired, you'd have more time to do that. I want to put on your radar screen this sense of urgency and the importance of being deliberate and conscious about and thoughtful about whether you keep working or not. You don't want to look back and say, I could have retired, but I didn't. Now, I'm going to also let you in on financial planning. When a financial planner, and this is what I've done for 20 years, when a financial planner says you have enough money to retire or don't have enough money to retire, I want to take you inside the tent and let you know what that really means. All of us as financial advisors, as professionals, if somebody says, hey, I want to be able to live on $40,000 a year after taxes, outside of Social Security and everything else. So, we have the tools as financial advisors to run that analysis. And one of the powerful tools we have is a statistical method called Monte Carlo simulation, where I'm trying to convey to my client, here's the likelihood of you being able to meet your goals and never have to worry about running out of money, right, which is important. So Monte Carlo simulation allows me to do that. It will take actual historic stock market data that we've had for 80 plus years, and it will randomize it and come up with different quote-unquote lifetimes, and maybe run 10,000 of those simulated hypothetical lifetimes to show how much money people have at the end. And here's here's the part that a lot of people don't understand when they talk to their financial advisor, and that is, we're going to tell you, hey, you know, you have a 97% likelihood of never running out of money, and that's going to sound great. But there's a trade-off associated with that, right? If we use that 10,000 simulations, if I've done my math right, that is the lowest 300 it is, okay, 300. It's the lowest 300, it's the worst 300 cases, right? We ran 10,000 lives, and in 300 of those, the people ran out of money. But unless you're in the lower 3%, you're not going to run out of money. And don't worry about it. You know, if you were on that glide slope where things are going down, you're not going to ride that plane into the ground. You're going to make some changes along the way. So even if you are in that unfortunate category, you're going to do some things along the way where you don't run out of money. But so again, as a financial advisor, I want my clients to have 95% likelihood of never running out of money, 97% likelihood of never running out of money. However, it takes a long time to go from, let's say, an 80% likelihood of never running out of money to a 97% likelihood of running out of money. That can be the difference. That can be 3 or 5 years of additional savings. And hopefully I've explained this well, that, you know, to have a 80% likelihood of never running out of money, you can have less money than if you have a 97% likelihood. And the trade-off there is not just dollars. You know, and with the way most financial advisors will say, let's just use the example of $1 million and $40,000 a year. We might say, you know, yes, you can do that. You have a 97% likelihood. Or let's say we run the numbers and it comes up 80%. We might say, well, you need to have $1.2 million. I'm just making up these numbers. You need to have $1.2 million. Well, how long is it going to take you to go from $1 million to $1.2 million? Not as long as you think, actually. That could happen in a year or two. But it could also take 3, 4, 5 years. And so a good question that I'd want you to ask your financial advisor is, what if I don't put in that extra money? What's the likelihood? And they might say 85%. And you know what? For a lot of people, 85% is good enough. They'd rather have 100% certainty of being able to retire at 55 and have an 80% likelihood and make some tweaks along the way. We as humans are adaptable, so we're gonna make changes if things don't go our way. So that's a really important thing that I want you to know. And then I also want you to know that a factor that's, think about all the factors that are unknown and can't be known. You know, what is inflation going to be in 10 years? What are U.S. tax rates going to be in 10 years? Forget about 10 years. What are they going to be? None of us know what U.S. tax rates are going to be in 2025. They have literally changed the tax rates on the last day of the month of December in the past. So they've made changes. So there's all this uncertainty, and to pretend that there's this certainty, that there's this that there is an answer, I think does all of us a disservice. I'd rather we look and say, what's important to us? And if you don't know what's important to you, first off, take your vacation. I am always shocked when I hear that over half of Americans, this is insane, over half of Americans don't take all of their vacation. Now, full transparency, I have gone years where I haven't taken all of my vacation as well. My company is very generous in how much vacation we get. So I've gotten all the vacation that I needed and wanted to take, but there was some left. And you know, shame on me. I look back and I can't bank those years at my company. So I look back and I say that was really silly. So, you know, what do you do if you're not sure what journey you want to be on? You know, I started this video talking about, you know, retirement is not a finish line. Retirement is a starting line, and there's somebody there with a starting gun, and bang, and just like sprinters, I want us all to sprint out of the gates and be excited, and like kids bursting out of the school building at the start of summer vacation, right? Summer is not the end of the 7th grade for those kids. It's the start of the 8th grade. It's the start of the summer. And it's the same thing for your retirement. Retirement is not an end. Yes, you're changing chapters, but it's not an end. You know, when people graduate from high school, when people graduate from college, they go through commencement. And commencement means a beginning. And I share that because when I went through commencement in high school, I assumed commencement meant an ending, because that's what it felt like. But in hindsight, I think we all feel this way. Graduating from high school was not an ending at all. It was the beginning of a new phase, of an exciting phase. In college, my undergrad's in engineering, and it was really, really tough. And I was really, really glad to have that done. And so commencement from college was the beginning. And you know what? Commencement from working, as tough as college was, you know, real life can be tough too. And commencement from real life, commencement from working, commencement for the next stage of your life. I really wish we had a different word for retirement. So that's what I started things on. If you want part 2 to this video, I have a video up here which is 5 reasons I think people should retire as soon as you can. If this video wasn't enough and you want more, you'll love this video. It's got over 1 million views, believe it or not. So I'll see you in there, and thanks for watching this one. Bye-bye.